All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, this is the NFL Exporter, NFL Expert Reporter Ty Goodman, Underworld Sports Show. We're talking first quarter review, first 4 games from the NFL football season 2013. It's been exciting, no doubt. We move over to the AFC North, and we're talking so far leading off the division. The Cincinnati Bengals coming in at 2-2. I had the Bengals coming in at 10-6 this year, winning this division. With the changes that I've seen within the other teams within the division, I really felt that Cincinnati bringing their core group of players back this year would really bode well for them. We've been seeing them gel over the past couple of years on the offense and defensive side of the ball. I really felt confident that they're ready to take the steps this year, but I've seen inconsistencies. Those inconsistencies are on the offensive side of the football. The offensive line has been very shaky thus far this year. In the passing game, teams are getting an awful lot of pressure on Andy Dalton. And in the running game, the Bengals have not been able to consistently open up lanes for running backs Giovanni Bernard and Ben Jarvis Green-Ellis to run through. What that's resulted in is the A.J. Green and those weapons through the passing game that the Bengals have not been able to be utilized because young quarterback Andy Dalton isn't playing with confidence this year because he's under a lot of pressure and duress, and he's really got to turn this thing around if he wants to give the Bengals a chance, because their defense has been absolutely outstanding. On the front line, guys like Geno Atkins, Michael Johnson, Carlos Dunlap, up around the line of scrimmage, guys like Ray Malaluga, Vontaze Burfict, outside Leon Hall, in that latter part of the secondary, Reggie Nelson. These guys are doing an outstanding job, limiting opposing teams on the ground, doing an excellent job in the pass game, especially getting pressure with that front four. So these guys, have really been doing a great job under Mike Zimmerman. You've seen them come around down the stretch run last year. They've taken a step forward. It's the Bengals offense that is holding up the process right now. So it'll be interesting to see if they can correct that moving forward. If Cincinnati can get their offense going, this can definitely be a legitimate playoff team come playoff time. Next in line, we had the Baltimore Ravens coming in at 2-2. We had the Ravens slated at 9-7 this year. This team took a ton of losses, so we pretty much expected this from them. When you lose future Hall of Famer Ray Lewis, future Hall of Famer Ed Reed, you lose linebacker Paul Kruger, you lose strong safety Bernard Pollard, you lose center Matt Burke, you lose Jacoby Jones, you lose Dennis Pitta. It's very difficult to overcome that many losses. They lost cornerback Jimmy Smith to Philadelphia. When you lose Anquan Bolden to the San Francisco 49ers, when you lose that much leadership and guys who are veterans, that much experience, you expect for things like this to happen. Like I said, Baltimore, I'm pretty sure you win a Super Bowl, you come in next year. Obviously, they had to make a lot of moves due to cap situations, salaries, and it's always a good time to turn over your roster after winning the Super Bowl. That is what it's all about. So right now, they're in the process of doing that, and I'm quite sure they just feel like, if they can hang in this thing, be right there at the end to contest for a playoff spot, winning that division, I'm quite sure that's the goal. Joe Flacco, Ray Rice, Torrey Smith, still viable options on the offensive side of the ball, and Haloti Ngata, Elmas Dumerville, Terrell Suggs. Those guys are still making noise on the front seven for the Ravens. So I expect for them to be there fighting for that division at the end, along with Cincinnati. The surprise so far this year, and it's still early, so it may not be a surprise, but the Cleveland Browns coming in at 2-2. Another team that has seen some changes take place. Made a surprising move in trading running back Trent Richardson to the Indianapolis Colts this year, leaving them void at running back. They recently picked up Willis McGahee, a guy who doesn't have the explosion that he used to, but he's formidable. I'm quite sure he can take care of the ball and get tough yardage. They're not looking for a lot out of him, more of a ball control type guy, because they're looking to turn the offense over to a passing game under quarterback Brian Hoying, who took over for Brandon Wheaton when he got injured. And this guy has taken the bull by the horns and picked up. Guys like Josh Gordon will be coming back from a 4-game suspension. Big-time playmaker there. He should help in the passing game. He's also been getting the ball to Jordan Cameron. This young tight end has really shown his true colors. He progressed a lot in the offseason, looked good in the preseason. It's translated over to the football field as he already has 5 touchdowns, including a 3 TD game against Minnesota. This guy looks to be a matchup problem. We definitely have to keep an eye on this young talent. On the defensive side of the ball, Cleveland has been outstanding. Ray Horton has his defense playing extremely well. Lockdown corner Joe Hayden, Big Phil Taylor, draft pick nose tackle from Baylor last year. DeQuell Jackson's been a staple in the middle offense for years. This defense is looking really good. They also picked up Paul Kruger from Baltimore. These guys are playing really aggressive. They're playing really disciplined. They're very stout against the run, do an excellent job against the pass. So Cleveland might be a team you have to watch out for, at least in terms of maybe even other teams trying to make the playoffs. This Cleveland team by no means is a pushover, so we're going to have to watch out for the Browns. Last but not least, the Pittsburgh Steelers, 0-4. I don't know when the last time you ever heard a Pittsburgh Steelers team associated with an 0-4 record, but that is the reality of the situation this year. Another team that, a lot of turnover, a lot of change on the offensive side of the ball. They lost their biggest playmaker, Mike Wallace, which now forces Antonio Brown and Emmanuel Sanders, guys who are more complementary players. They now have to take over the lead. Neither one of these guys have been able to establish themselves as a #1 receiver. In that offensive line for Pittsburgh, it just always was average at most. It seems to be an area that they were able to get away with not quite addressing, and it's kind of come back to haunt them at this point because without the weapons that they used to have in the passing game as well as the running game, Rashard Mendenhall isn't there anymore. They're trying to put in a rookie and just find matches in that backfield right now. It's a real struggle for Pittsburgh to move the ball. It was an embarrassment as we've seen it the first week. Usually Pittsburgh at home against Tennessee, you chalk that one up in the books. These guys can only muster up one touchdown in that game. I mean, it was a sign of things to come. Not only that, they lost Pro Bowl center Maurice Pouncey for the year on a freak accident where his own player rolls into him and tears his ACL. So the offensive side of the ball is where the issues begin and will end for the Steelers. The defense is still formidable, but obviously a step slower. They still have Ryan Clark, Troy Polamalu, Lamar Woodley, Lawrence Timmons, but ultimately they're on the field too long now. Teams are not afraid of this Pittsburgh defense anymore, and like I said, it's really a result of their offense not even being able to manufacture points that this Pittsburgh defense gets worn down. So it doesn't look good for the Steelers at all. I did have them slated at 8-8, but off to an 0-4 start. That's looking kind of shaky right now as they can turn around soon. All right, that wraps up the AFC North. Once again, we'll be back. It's your boy, the NFL Exporter, Ty Goodman, the Underworld Sports Show. You know what it is.